Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, now we start English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Here is a mixed chorus, Song of General Kim Il-sung. chorus, Song of General Kim Jong-il.
You are listening to VLK, Voice of Korea, News Now. Respected Kim Jong-un, Chairman of the Workers' Party of Korea and Chairman of the State Defense Commission and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, received a reply message from Bashar al-Assad, President of the Syrian Arab Republic, on the 24th. The message expressed thanks to Kim Jong-un for having sent a congratulatory message of sincere best wishes on the occasion of the anniversary of the corrective movement and wished the greater progress and development to the friendly DPRK. He said some Western countries headed by the United States are resorting to the policy to control the decision and wealth of the people of independent countries, including Syria and the DPRK, and frustrating it necessitates greater joint efforts and cooperation between the friendly countries. The message was convinced of the importance of the historic and special friendly relations between the two countries and affirmed the will to make redoubled efforts to strengthen and develop the relations between the two countries in common interests of the two friendly peoples. A meeting was held at the Central Hall of Workers in Pyongyang on the 26th to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the publication of the great leader Kim Il-sung's famous work, Let Us Implement the Socialist Labor Law Thoroughly, and the 30th anniversary of the publication of the great leader Kim Jong-il's famous work on further improving labor administration. Present there were also Young, Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials concerned, and labor administration officials of the ministries and national agencies and in the city. A report was made by Roh Do-chul, Vice Premier and Chairman of the State Planning Commission. The reporter said Kim Il-sung called a National Conference of Labor Administration Officials and made public the famous work, Let Us Implement the Socialist Labor Law Thoroughly, on September 27th, Juche 68 or 1979, and continued. The work of Kim Il-sung is a grand program of socialist labor administration run through with the principles and methods of Juche and a guideline to be held fast to in improving and strengthening the labor administration in the whole period of socialist construction. Kim Jong-il made public the famous work on further improving labor administration on November the 27th, 2078 or 1989, and thus further deepened and developed the idea and theory of Kim Il-sung on labor administration in conformity with the demand of the times and developing revolution. The idea and exploits of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on the solution of the labor issue are shining all the more under the wise guidance of the respected Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. All the officials and working people should glorify forever the undying achievements of the great leaders and bring about the fresh turn in the socialist labor administration through the leadership of Kim Jong-un, the reporter stressed. The 9th National Exhibition of Liquor and Basic Foodstuffs opened with due ceremony at the Pyongyang Yukjeon Department Store on the 25th. Present at the opening ceremony were officials concerned, officials of the units which presented products, and producers. Displayed at the venue of the exhibition were more than 16,000 liquors and condiments presented by foodstuff production units across the country. Lectures on scientific and technical issues arising in the basic foodstuff production will be given during the exhibition. The exhibition will last until the 29th. Members of the February 17th Shock Brigade of scientists and technicians dispatched to all parts of the country are making valuable research findings. The Shock Brigaders working at the construction site of the Dancheon Power Station have intensified researches to use the muck from heading as a covering material of the waterway tunnel and invented and introduced a measuring instrument which can assess lithology more correctly, making it possible to save a lot of materials and manpower. They've also made a new cement hardening accelerator, contributing to speeding up the project. The Shock Brigaders sent to the Inpo Youth coal mine have established an integrated business management system of the coal mine and introduced valuable scientific and technological achievements, making it possible to save a lot of materials. Those dispatched to the Daean Heavy Machine Complex are making a success in the research for solving the scientific and technological problems arising in the manufacture of turbine blade. Those sent to the Daeheung Hero Youth Mine have registered a success in building the refractory production process. Other Shock Brigaders have introduced into the Sinus chemical fiber mill the research findings which can improve the quality of paper and increase the ability of the raw materials cracking equipment. In this way, the members of the February 17th Shock Brigade of scientists and technicians are making an active contribution to revitalizing the national economy with the might of science and technology. The Korea April 26 Animation Studio has recently made successes in creation of animations favored by school youth and children and working people. The officials, creators, and artists of the studio have wonderfully created strips of the animation The Boy General and other historical animations showing the time-honored history, resplendent culture, and excellent tradition of the Korean nation. A success has been made in the creation of animations of various themes and styles suited to the characteristics of children and the sentiments of the people, including the theories of the animation. Let's keep traffic orders well. The studio has established an advanced animation creating system and introduced the three-dimensional manufacturing technology of Korean style, fully solving tens of scientific and technological problems to improve the level of depiction of cost, original picture, and setting. A delegation of young officials of the General Association of Korean Residents in Japan, headed by Ri Dong-seok, Department Director of the Central Standing Committee of the Korean Youth League in Japan, visited Mangyongdae, the birthplace of the great leader Kim Il-sung. It also called at the Youth Movement Museum, the Pyongyang Teachers Training College, the Mangyongdae School Children's Palace, and other places. According to the South Korean internet newspaper Pyongyang News, the Southside Committee for Implementing the June 15th Joint Declaration and People for Achieving Peace and Reunification issued commentaries on the 23rd calling for abrogating the General Security of Military Intelligence Agreement with Japan unconditionally. The commentaries said the agreement had been made by the United States to implicate South Korea in the U.S.-Japan alliance in its strategic interests. The agreement, seriously threatening peace of the Korean Peninsula, can never be tolerated, they stressed. You are listening to VOK, Voice of Korea, Malcolm Song in Pyongyang.
Here is a female trio. People call his dear name. joyous string ensemble. We believe in you as in heaven. Essence of a society elucidated by the Juche idea. The great Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism, newly elucidated the essence of a society with man at the center for the first time in history. Society is, in a nutshell, a collective of people. In other words, it is a community in which people live, linked together by social wealth and social relations. The essential characteristic of society, distinguished from nature, lies in that it is a collective of people who gathered for existence and development. Therefore, there can never be a society without people. First, society is a collective in which people live with social wealth. Social wealth is the whole of material and mental means created and used by people. Material wealth is means used to satisfy the requirements of people's material life, which is divided into means of production and life. Mental wealth is the whole of means used to satisfy the demands of people's ideological and spiritual life, which includes moral culture, such as ideology, morality, science, literature, and arts, and the means used for accumulating and disseminating them. Social wealth is also an essential means for existence and development of a society. When there is social wealth, men can exist and develop, and society last and develop. Social wealth affects the formation and development of social relations as well. Thanks to social relations, a collective is formed and society exists. Man is the only being that lives in social relations, and society is the community of people linked together by social relations. The social society of Korea, where the people are masters of everything and everything serves them, is a genuine people's society in which the people form a large harmonious family and live a happy life, helping and leading each other forward. Herein lie the true features of Korean-style socialism, which cannot be had nor imitated by capitalism. The Korean people are devoting their sincere efforts to the struggle for further consolidating and developing the people-centered social system of Korean style and adding eternal brilliance to it. You've been listening to an article under the title Essence of a Society Elucidated by the Juche Idea. This is Voice of Korea. Now you are invited to listen to the song Ode to the Mother Party. Your warm love blesses us like sunlight. Your benevolent care leads us to glory like a flag. The strength of guidance is so powerful to make Korea strongest. Oh, the great mother, the Workers' Party of Korea, calling the dear name, we sing Song of Thanks.
appreciate light music, the bosom where I grew up. Now here's a female sailor. I will lead like star following the party.
We now present the song. We are sowing the seeds of flowers of revolution from the revolutionary opera The Flower Girl, adapted from the immortal masterpiece of the same title. enjoy violin ensemble. Socialism is ours.
enjoy your female chorus, Song of Advance of Socialism.
listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Europe between 15 and 16 hours UTC, between 18 and 19 hours UTC, between 21 and 22 hours UTC, and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 7,570 kHz and 12,015 kHz. For North America, between 15 and 16 hours UTC and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 9,435 kHz and 11,710 kHz. And for Northeast Asia, between 4 and 5 hours UTC and between 6 and 7 hours UTC on 7,220 kHz, 9,435 kHz, and 9,730 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.